Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. If you're absolutely addicted to the game of basketball like I am, make sure you click that red subscribe button down below and you light up that post notification bell so you do not miss any future content on this channel. So obviously, I want to talk about way more when it comes to basketball on this channel, but there's not a lot going on right now. Yes, there's certain things going on. Obviously, we're still tracking to see what happens with Damian Lillard. Does he go on to be traded before training camp starts up? Because he has announced that he will go to the Portland Trailblazers training camp. He will arrive there if he's not traded beforehand. And James Harden, apparently those trade discussions have restarted, but there's a world that he may return to the Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid has a very good relationship with James Harden, but James Harden doesn't have a great relationship right now with the rest of the organization. So we'll see what happens. Does he go on to be traded to the Clippers? Daryl Morey's going to try to get back as much as possible. You want to keep Embiid happy, and I don't know. Honestly, it looks like a mess, and hopefully they're able to solve some things. You have the national teams. Obviously, you have Team USA with Tyrese Halliburton, Jalen Bronson, Anthony Edwards, and even more. I watched Team Canada take on Team Germany, and Team Germany's pretty damn good. They went on to beat Team Canada. Canada did have a comeback, but they fell short. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and RJ Barrett did not play in that fourth quarter, but they still have Lou Dort on the roster. They still have definitely some solid pieces. But when I take a look at Team Germany, Mo Wagner, very solid player. Obviously, the better brother of Franz Wagner. All respect to Mo Wagner. I think he's a very solid NBA player. But you have also Daniel Tice on that team, Isaac Bonga, who spent some time in the NBA a little bit with the Washington Wizards, played in the G League, played for Washington Go Go Go. But this video I'm excited to do because there's not a crazy amount going on. I'm like, I don't want to reach for content, but I feel this will be a fun video and something maybe I could do even again in a few years when there's new players in the NBA and our perspectives change, that I might bring someone on and we do like a draft. This video is going to be my opinion. I'm not saying these are the best players in the league or all of these are future Hall of Famers, even though a bunch of these players just happen to be in this category because they were just that fun to watch. I'm going to be bringing you guys the most aesthetically pleasing players, in my opinion, in the NBA. I'm not saying the most talented. I'm not saying they're Hall of Famers. Again, there happens to be a lot of great players because a lot of the best players are aesthetically pleasing to watch in the NBA. But when I'm talking about fluidity, when I'm talking about shot mechanics, in my opinion, just the way they play the game, I just love the way they play. I'm turning the TV on. I'm turning this game on because I want to see that player watch, or I want to watch this player. I want to see them play. And not everyone's going to be on this list because there's tons of players that are very, very fun to watch and very aesthetically pleasing. And they just move so beautiful and move so graceful out there on the basketball floor. But no surprise. Gotta start with Kyrie Irving. You gotta start with Kyrie Irving. You watch Kyrie Irving play, and a lot of people are going to say like he's a toxic player, but we're putting that all aside. We're going purely off of out there on the basketball floor, what he's able to do with his physical traits, his skill set. It's one of the most beautiful, it's one of the most elite skill sets in the league, no doubt about it. He's a top 3 shot maker, one of the most clutch players in the game. He's just such a difficult shot maker, has the best handle, he has the best grace when it comes to getting to the basket. Excellent touch around the rim. He has the best layup package. He has the best dribble package. His combo crosses. He breaks out the sham god. He fakes in one direction, works down the lane. You don't know if he's going to pull up from 3 because he's such a great hezzy, or just because he's an assassin from there. You don't know if he's going to kill you from mid-range because he has the threat of dribbling downhill and finishing with so much English around the basket. It is literally poetry in motion when you watch this dude dribble the basketball. When you watch him have the most insane finish, he makes it look so easy. He just has this aura about him that when he's out there on the floor, you know he's going to do something special. He's definitely the most aesthetically pleasing, or one of the most aesthetically pleasing players in the NBA. I guess there is one little nitpick. In my opinion, I think his jumper is absolutely beautiful. If you're not just like slowing down footage and saying, oh, look at that little thumb flick there, because that is the thing that people say is this thumb flick. And I feel more and more people when it comes to this newer generation has a thumb flick. If you don't know what a thumb flick is, obviously your left hand, or it depends if you're right-handed or left-handed. I'm right-handed, for example, so my left hand will obviously be my guide hand, and this is just to be there to guide the basketball, not affect my shooting pocket and affect me flicking my wrist and shooting the basketball. While some people, I do this actually that sometimes I have this thumb flick that it hits the basketball last second, or sometimes I get more strength with the thumb flick or with the thumb to really guide the basketball. And sometimes it can affect your jumper. It doesn't with Kyrie Irving though. But when you're just picturing watching Kyrie Irving play, you see him size someone up, get into a mid range. It's like whoosh, like it's just so beautiful. It's like almost like nothing but net all the time. The perfect arc on his jumper, just puts enough strength behind it. Kyrie Irving is no doubt about it, probably top 3, like most aesthetically pleasing player to watch. And again, like the balance on his jumper is great. Maybe he doesn't have perfect technique according to those nerds out there, but Kyrie Irving, he just has to be on this list. He has to be on this list. And moving on, you got to have Klay Thompson on this list. Everyone has their different rankings when it comes to best shooters in NBA history. Obviously, Stephen Curry, best of all time. Ray Allen on that list. Reggie Miller on that list. Obviously, you could put Klay Thompson. There's so many excellent shooters. I do think there's a tier that it's like Stephen Curry all the way up here, and then it's like the next tier. Like, I just think Curry's that insane when it comes to his versatility of shooting the basketball. But Klay Thompson, literally, what you're taught when you're younger about shooting mechanics, Klay Thompson has that. He is the most beautiful, consistent looking shot every time he shoots the ball, coming off the screens, catch and shoot situations. He's not going to break you down like crazy, but obviously he's shown that he can get to that fadeaway. But when it comes to his jumper, it's so beautiful. It is so beautiful. You know, his elbows are locked in. His guide hand is just there. Perfect flick of the wrist, good mechanics, good base, good eyes, good follow through, everything. He literally has everything when it comes to his jumper. It never looks flawed. Obviously, he doesn't go in all the time, and I do think he's a little decreased as a shooter compared to a few years ago. Obviously, he suffered a ginormous injury in that Toronto Raptors series in the finals. He's still a good shooter. I don't think he's the level he was a few years ago, but again, I'm not taking anything away. He's still a very good shooter, but he has to be up there. When it comes to his shot mechanics, it's just beautiful. From what you're taught as a kid, this, like, coaches probably raved about this dude. Like, he's took probably a million shots throughout his career, which you have to do. But I want to know what his father taught him, Michael Thompson, who's actually a top 5 draft pick for the Lakers, like what he worked with him on to get his jumper to that point. Insane. All right, moving on, we got Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, one of the best scorers of all time, but I'm not trying to put like numbers or accomplishments, scoring averages. Like, I'm not trying to put accolades into this, like championships. I'm going purely off of the eyeball test when you watch these players play. Again, there just happen to be tons of all-stars that are just so aesthetically pleasing to watch. And Kevin Durant has to be there. Because, yes, Kevin Durant has this wiry frame, or believe it or not, he's gotten stronger since the Supersonics days, since the Texas days. But he's 6'10", has such a high set point, has such a fluid jumper. He could do so much at 6'10" that you should not be able to do. He moves, I'm not going to say he moves like Kyrie Irving, but he moves damn close to Kyrie Irving, at least pre-ACL, even though I think he still moves extremely well. He moves like a 6'3" guard at 6'10". The combo crosses, the handle, we've obviously seen it, having Daniel Gafford touch the deck on insane crossovers. You should not be that low to the floor. You should not have that insane of a crossover at 6'10" and have the ball on a string like that. It is just absolutely unbelievable. The touch around the basket, the touch from mid-range, the touch from the outside, being able to shoot fadeaways. Obviously, Kyrie Irving could shoot fadeaways as well. But we literally know players. He just moves so well. You shouldn't move that well in transition, even after an ACL injury. Some people were afraid he's not going to be the same, and you could say he's a little better or maybe just as good. We're still playing at a very high level. There's guys that are 6'2", 6'3", that move stiff, that don't move as fluid as Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant's like 8 inches taller. Some guys just move very awkward, and that's just not the case for Kevin Durant. It is insane. Moving on, Chris Middleton. I feel this is an underrated name. I'm not going to say when it comes to players in the NBA, because players know Chris Middleton's that guy. He's hit big shots during that playoff run, helped the Bucks obviously win an NBA championship versus the Suns. Giannis obviously amazing, Drew Holiday, Brook Lopez, and even more. But when Chris Middleton is healthy, he reads the game so well. He has a beautiful looking jumper. He plays so patient. When a screen's being set for him, I feel it is unguardable, especially when this dude's hot. When a screen's being set for him, he can go to the right side, come off screen, or it depends obviously what side the screen's being set and the personnel. but just the timing of coming off that screen, getting to that mid-range pull-up jumper. Me and my friend MH have actually talked about this, a basketball buddy of mine. And obviously, we're not saying he's as close to a Michael Jordan or a Kawhi Leonard, even though when healthy he's fantastic. But from the eyeball test, when he is healthy and when he is on, he's literally one of the most unguardable players from mid-range territory that this dude looks like MJ and Kawhi. Again, I'm not saying he's that level, but from an aesthetic standpoint, when you watch him play, the patience to get to that fadeaway, we saw it in, I remember the Hawks series, and I believe in the elimination game when Giannis was hurt. Yeah, Giannis was hurt because we thought he was just done with that knee injury. Obviously, Trae Young got hurt as well. But the fluidity and the grace Middleton plays with, I just love the way, how much patience Middleton plays with. All right, next up, Jalen Bronson. This one may be a little biased because I am a New York Knicks fan, but I feel he's unique but fluid. And it definitely helps when you are a lefty, but what I find so aesthetically pleasing, some people may find it unique, some people may find it a little weird, but he's 6'1", maybe shorter. He could be 5'11", but he is so strong. He's like a stocky 6'1". He's not pudgy. He's a strong dude, but he is like a strong base when it comes to his legs, strong upper body. So despite him being 6'1", he backs guys down in the post and goes to a little hook or goes to a little floater, turns over a shoulder for a fadeaway. You'll see him, like, if it's your first time watching the Knicks, first time watching basketball, you're probably like, what is this dude doing? He's 6'1", he's trying to back down DeMar DeRozan, who's just as strong and has like 5 inches on him. Why is he trying to back him down? He'll shoot fadeaways just backing guys down like that and make them on a consistent basis. He's one of the most efficient players in basketball. His footwork is off the charts. It's insane because he's not crazy athletic, but he's made it very far when it comes to his Villanova days, back playing in Illinois in high school in Chicago, based off of just pure fundamentals. Rick Brunson being in the league, his father, just the footwork, him being able to turn over any shoulder, him being able to get to mid-range territory and be so efficient with it, score from all 3 levels. Kind of an old school guard, but so damn efficient and aesthetically pleasing to watch. Next up, I got Devin Booker. Devin Booker, a lot of people crap on Booker. I understand, like the whole double team joke with Joakim Noah in practice, and he's fallen short. He definitely has. Suns were up in that finals run. Giannis, unbelievable. Chris Middleton, unbelievable. Brook Lopez's presence, just everyone. Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday. But Devin Booker has a beautiful game. Literally, when he was drafted in 2015, the same year Karl Anthony Towns was drafted, D'Angelo Russell, Jalo Okafor, Kristaps Porzingis, Justice Winslow, Manu Mudiay, Willie Cauley-Stein, I believe, was in that draft, even more. When Booker went later, obviously ends up being a steal, he was compared to Klay Thompson. That's how beautiful his jumper was coming out of Kentucky, but obviously he's expanded his offensive game. So he is one of those shots, you think every time he shoots it, it's going in. He can turn over any shoulder. And it doesn't matter it doesn't matter how he raises up into his jumper, just the elevation he gets on it. The patience, the footwork. I love watching players that they're not crazy athletic, even though he's a good athlete, he's not a tremendous athlete. You can just tell how much they put into their game. And the timing, just every little detail. I really appreciate Devin Booker's game, and I believe it's very aesthetically pleasing in my opinion. Next up, Curry. Because Curry has some things that maybe you shouldn't watch when you're a kid. Like coaches tell you, make sure your feet are pointed towards the basket. You have a good base. Your feet aren't pointed that way. Your feet aren't like too close together. You're not shooting very low. I feel that's what makes him aesthetically pleasing because he's the best shooter in the world and he's unorthodox, so it is beautiful to watch that he could score from three-point land in a bunch of different ways, has these scoop layups that I loved attempting when I'm a kid, so I'm a little biased. I'm like, oh, this little Steve Nash layups, like Curry will attempt those, that there's so much of an English to his game and so much of a fanciness, but he has shown that it results in championships. That when he was younger, or even when he was going up against the Clippers, I remember, was this 2015? Or he does it sometimes. He's one of the best handles, but at least a few years ago, he used to like look down when he dribbled, and I know that doesn't sound awesome. It's not like a purely great fundamental, but there's a little bit of a bias here because he's the best shooter in the league, and because sometimes he'll just like flare his arms, not fully hold his release, he'll turn around before it goes in. You just gotta have Curry on the list. You just do. You do. Next up, I have Hayden Sharp. He may not be an all-star. Hayden Sharp. Again, this isn't all about all-stars. This isn't all about productivity. There just happens to be awesome players here. But Hayden Sharp, he's someone that averaged a little under 10 points per game. Didn't play college ball at Kentucky. Trained for the NBA. Went to the Portland Trail Blazers as a lottery pick. And we see the fluidity. We see the grace with his game. We see he has this aura. It just looks like he belongs and that he's going to at least be a 16 to 17 point per game scorer. He's one of the most athletic guys. He has such a soft touch around the basket. And he has shown that when he does utilize screens, good elevation, and I just love the way he gets to his jumper when it comes to mid-range. I feel he just has that to him. There's no stiffness. There's an overall smoothness to his game, if that makes sense. And then finally, I'm going to finish with Paul George. He's 6'8", extremely strong, built like a freaking brick house. And it's not Pacers Paul George anymore, but still a damn good player. Even though one year he was in Oklahoma City, he was an MVP candidate. One of the most prolific, difficult shot makers in the game. Between the legs, behind the back, very, very excellent crossover. And he's a beautiful looking jumper. He is a very, very beautiful looking jumper, the way he raises into his shot. But I feel Paul George definitely needs to be recognized as one of the most difficult shot makers and definitely a very aesthetically pleasing player that at 6'8", he has no stiffness, and at his size, no matter how strong he is, he's still a very efficient three-point shooter. So there's still great guys. Like, you could put James Harden on this list. You could put Kawhi Leonard, Damian Lillard. But these are just guys that hit different for me when I watch them play. I'm not saying those other guys don't. No specific order. Let me know down below your thoughts. Peace out, y'all.